Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about genetically modified organisms, some of the benefits and some of the dangers. Monsanto is an agricultural company, and they developed an herbicide called Roundup. And then they went through and began genetically modifying their canola plants to resist Roundup. They were called Roundup-ready canola plants. And that way farmers could go through and spray their entire canola fields and only the weeds would die, which sounded great. But Monsanto took it a step further and they began patenting the gene that was Roundup resistant. And they made it very specific and clear that any plant with that gene present in it became the property of Monsanto. And let me just mention right here that the right to patent life has never been voted on. Deborah Koons' documentary, The Future of Food, does a really interesting interview with a 53-year-old Canadian farmer named Percy Schmeiser. And basically what happened is one day, Farmer Percy decides to spray some Roundup around his telephone poles, and he notices that some of his canola doesn't die. But he isn't planting Roundup-ready canola. And Monsanto hears, and they go onto his property without his permission and survey his land. And a couple of weeks later, they file a lawsuit saying, you illegally obtained my Roundup-ready canola, and that's an illegal infringement on my patent. And Percy took this to court, and the court held up Monsanto's end of it, and they pretty much said, it doesn't matter how the canola got on your land. I mean, those seeds could have been blown over from a neighboring farm. Some of the neighbors' Roundup-ready canola could have pollinated with his canola. I mean, could have been anything. And the court said it didn't matter how the Roundup-ready canola got there, but it is your fault. Not only do you have to pay Monsanto, but you have to burn all 1,000 pounds of the seed that he and his family have been developing. Burn it all because it could be cross-contaminated with my Roundup-ready gene. And 9,000 of these lawsuits to date have been brought up on little farmers like Percy, which really begs the question to me, you know, Monsanto, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, are they interested in sticking it to the small guy and making a couple $1,000, or are they interested in controlling all the seed? According to the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, there is more than a causal association between GM foods and adverse health effects. Multiple animal studies show altered function and structure of the liver, kidney, pancreas, and spleen, as well as documented infertility. In the US, GMOs do not have to be labeled on our foods. In 2001, Grace Booth almost died from an allergic reaction due to eating GMO corn in her tortilla that was not approved for human consumption. Monsanto's fought very hard to keep GMOs off of our labels, maybe because they don't want to be held liable for these health concerns. A gene that they've started using in their GMO produce plants is called the terminator gene. And basically what that is that it renders the plant completely infertile after the first harvest. You have to go back and rebuy Monsanto's seeds. What if terminator plants cross-pollinate with normal plants and that gene pollutes the genes of the normal plants? Third world countries that have very low harvests and very high levels of starvation as it is, if this gene somehow polluted their crops, their fields, I mean, we're talking about mass devastation here. I really have a lot of respect for the scientific community. I have a lot of respect for the work they do, and I really believe that scientific breakthroughs can change our life. All I'm saying is, GMOs haven't been accurately tested. We're talking about releasing dangerous, untested technologies into an environment where they can flourish and grow and prosper. And to me, that's a very scary thought. So what are some things that we can do to change this? A, eat organically. Now I know that, you know, organic produce is a lot more expensive than normal produce. Below, I've posted a link of a list of organic foods that A, are the cheapest to buy, so if you're on a low budget, and B, the ones that are the most environmentally beneficial. Also, if you eat food, you need to watch The Future of Food.